biggest power of negative thinking?
When Richard Hatch won the first season of Survivor, taking the $1 million prize, it was no surprise to him. He knew he could do it. He had a plan on day one and used the power of positive thinking to make it happen. Of course, the power of positive thinking did not keep him out of prison for failing to pay taxes on his $1 million winnings. He was so optimistic, he didn't think anyone from the IRS would be watching the most popular program that year. Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and guests, the power of positive thinking can get us into trouble. The power of positive thinking christened the Titanic unsinkable. The power of positive thinking said that subprime mortgages were a great idea. And the power of positive thinking sneered at Tom Clancy, who back in 1994 wrote Debt of Honor, in which an airliner was hijacked and crashed into the Capitol building. Everyone said it was unrealistic. Now, before you think I'm a pessimist or against positive thinking, I'm not. I believe in positive thinking. We need it. I still hear the voice of the little inch in that could telling me that if I think I can, I can. But I would be a fool not to ask a question that could have saved countless lives. What could possibly go wrong? Not to discourage, but to build up to higher levels. You see, the power of negative thinking is essential to reach our potential. We do this in Toastmasters all the time. Do you think this is the first version of my speech? When I gave it the first time, after hearing it, my wife, my beautiful bride, came up to me and sweetly told me that that was the worst thing I've ever given. I should never, ever give it again, ever. See, that's the point of the evaluation. We're usually friendlier than that. But the point is not to tear down, but to build up, to correct bad habits, to create better ones. That constructive criticism makes us better speakers. My speech is in great shape now because of negative thinking. See, we can't be afraid of hurting people's feelings as we want to improve them. I had coworkers at the college I teach at who for years would not give me any constructive criticism. See, they were afraid of hurting my feelings. And they kept me from being promoted because I had no idea what I was doing wrong. Only finally, last year, someone had the courage to say, hey, here's what you're doing wrong. And you know what? I wasn't hurt. It helped me, helped my teaching. Negative thinking may have saved my career. I'm not the only one. Consider James Cameron. He wanted to make the movie Avatar 10 years ago. But he knew it would fail. He knew that the industry and the technology weren't ready for his vision. He asked the question, what could possibly go wrong if I don't wait? Well, a lot. He knew he'd fail. So the world of Pandora had to wait 10 years before he took it out of its box. But now we know the story. That movie has made more money than any other in history, all thanks to negative thinking. See, Cameron asked the question. And it's a question I should have asked back in 2008. You remember Hurricane Ike, don't you?
Oh, yeah.
I should have asked the question, what could possibly go wrong if a hurricane makes landfall? Well, power outages for days, if not weeks for one, and guess who wasn't prepared and didn't even have a battery-operated radio? But see, my optimistic brilliance doesn't end there. After 4 days of no power, we decided we had enough and we headed to family and spent 3 more days there until power was finally restored. When we came back, we figured lights would be on, AC would be running, and life would be back to normal. You ever had an odor wave at you? See, I should have asked the question, what could possibly go wrong if we don't clean all the meat out of the freezer? We had a brilliant plan. We'd wait for the power to come back on, the freezer would refreeze everything, and it'd be easy to get rid of. That didn't happen. And now, not only am I qualified to work on a hazmat team, I no longer wonder what CSI smells like. I figured we were just a few hours away from the police busting down the door looking for our bodies. See, excessive optimism can get you in a lot of trouble, especially when you apply it to your health. Do you know where most cavities come from? The dentist. Because you didn't have them until you went. Am I right? That's why I stopped going. So I didn't ask the question, hey, what could possibly go wrong if I don't see the dentist for a couple of years? Well, my wife finally badgered me into going back. I found out that the power of positive thinking does not extend to dental hygiene. Guess what the dentist gave me that time? But see, I learned my lesson, which is why now I get an annual physical, and you should too. Guys, I'm especially talking to you. Yes, I know it's invasive, and you get poked and prodded, and you get to wear that white paper gown that opens in the back. So awesome! But I don't care if yearly checkups make me a pessimist. You want to know why? My father died of cancer when I was just 4 years old. Skin cancer from too many sunburns. It was preventable. Which is why I now get my skin checked every year. When I'm out in the sun, I wear a hat and I slather on SPF 42,000 sunscreen just to be sure. My wife is not going to be a widow because I thought it couldn't happen to me. See, I don't understand why perfectly healthy people refuse to get a checkup that could save their lives. And if you don't do it for yourself, do it for your family. Ask the question, what could go wrong if I don't do this? Allow the power of negative thinking to let you stick around for all those Thanksgivings and Christmases and all those other holidays my father doesn't get. That's what I'm going to do. The power of negative thinking is going to make sure that I stick around for a good long time. It's going to help me with my health, my wealth, and you never know, it just might help me win this thing. Matt and Tony.